Welcome back to the Transaction Care Podcast. I am your host, Lillian Hernandez, but you can call me Lily, like the flower, because we are learning and growing together. So, it's been a while, but I'm back. How is everyone doing? Shout out to my returning listeners. I appreciate you, and welcome to those that are brand new or just now discovering the Transaction Care Podcast. It's a good time over here. This particular episode, I am checking in, giving you guys an update of what I've been up to, what is to come, and how we can stay in touch in times of reimagining, reassessing, regrouping, or simply just taking a break. All of that and so much more. So let's get started. So to kind of recap the last few episodes, we talked about me turning 40. We discussed 2 decades in real estate. Yes, in June 4th, actually, to be specific. I hit 2 decades in real estate when I first started as a young 20-year-old, needing a job just to support my habit for burritos and CDs. Those are compact discs for those that are way younger than me. And with everything happening within the real estate industry and how it's changing, literally as I speak, the last episode I did was staying compliant in your real estate business. So if you haven't already done so, go back and listen to those episodes after this one. But ultimately, after I recorded that episode, it was about 12 minutes and I realized, you know what? I think this is a good time for me to just pause because there is a lot happening in the industry when it comes to updates, rules, laws, compliance, commissions, and I need as much brain capacity, mind space in order to understand what's happening and how I want to truly approach the next 2 decades, God willing, of life. You know what I mean? I did not plan a majority of where I'm at today. A lot of it was a result of just showing up, not having a plan. And then once I realized I couldn't shake real estate, I began to develop a plan, develop strategies, and seek the help I needed, mentally, emotionally, for my business, financially, all of those things, whether it was therapy, coaching, journaling, prayer, you name it. And once I turned 40 and all of these things started to unfold within the business that I'm working in, I knew that that was my sign to reevaluate, reassess, and like I said, reimagine what it is I want to strive for. What are my goals? What are my dreams? Is my why still relevant? So I've been doing a lot of reflecting while I'm still maintaining my TC business and, also trying to find different ways that I can reinvent that part of my business. If that is a part of my business I still want to keep. I know I mentioned in previous episodes that I'm quote unquote retired, but I think it's beyond that. Again, going back to reimagining what business, what work, what career looks like and means to me at this point in life, my mind and my mindset around those topics have really developed. And I've also been challenging a lot of the norms that I'm used to and challenging a lot of the habits that I've gained and, good and bad. And again, really just taking the time to audit my life and prioritizing the people, the places, and the things. So prioritizing all of the nouns, right? And in order for me to have done that, I had to take a break from the podcast, which meant, you know what? I'm just going to stop it for the time being because it takes a lot of time to sit with yourself and it's emotionally taxing. Let's not forget that part. To sit with yourself and you're having a bad day and you're starting to feel those symptoms of burnout and you want something to give, you want something to change, you want that big check to hit your bank account or something to keep you motivated and inspired. And that's what I was kind of going through towards the end of June. And coming into July, I was like, I can't continue on this path that I'm going down because it's really distracting me from what I feel like is a bigger message, a bigger plan, a bigger goal that I don't even think I'm fully capable of comprehending. And the only way to understand it is to be disciplined and to be diligent and consistent and show up. So that's what I've been doing. And a big part of this time and this break was reigniting my YouTube channel. When it came down to, what are my priorities? Who are my priorities? Yes, God, myself, my family, my friends. I love to travel. I love to do this podcast. I love to do YouTube. And I think I was just spreading myself too thin when it came to trying to be everywhere all at once. So, not to mention the financial ups and downs and having gotten back in debt again, I realized, it's time to get organized. It's really time for me to shift and change my situation. Taxes, insurance, like all of the things just seem to have hit all at once during a time and a season in my business where the pivot hasn't been as lucrative. And everyone knows when you're pivoting, when you're shifting careers, that sometimes your money's just going to take a toll, and I was starting to feel like I wasn't committed to anything and I didn't have a plan, and I was just showing up day by day and going with the flow, and the flow was taking me down rugged paths and rugged streams, and I just needed to stop. I needed to pause. So let me know if you're feeling some of these similar feelings. I usually plan out my episodes and I have outlines and talking points, but I felt like because this is my first episode back after about a month, I'm just going to talk from my heart. And if these are topics or themes that I've spoken on before, it's for a good reason. It's because I maybe haven't fully healed or become as aware of that lesson. And it's something I just have to regurgitate again and bring up, or maybe it's for someone else. That was something I had to remind myself when it came to this podcast, the show was not for me. In the beginning, like the first half of the year, I said this in my 1-year anniversary episode. I was like, doing this podcast was in the beginning very much a passion project, a hobby, a goal of mine to just have a podcast. And then as I started to get emails and comments and messages from people throughout the world, no joke, around the world, I realized, oh, wow, I didn't know people needed these types of conversations or needed this type of messaging or wanted to learn about real estate or transaction coordination, let alone hear it from me. Because even though I've been in this industry for 20 years, I don't claim to be a guru. I don't claim to be the expert or the know-it-all, or yes, I am a veteran. I have a lot of experience, a lot of knowledge, and that's where I'm at with this, is wanting to share what I do know while I'm also learning more. Like I said, there's a lot happening in the real estate industry that is forcing many of us out of our comfort zones and forcing many of us to make those tough decisions like, is this business still for me? And also questioning, is business still for me? So maybe you're on the other end of that question as well. Like, is business still for you? Is a 9-to-5 starting to seem more appealing at this point? Or maybe you need to update your services. So these are all the questions. I've been doing a full audit of my life, and it's really been a game changer. I can't lie to you. I am more aware of my priorities again. I keep saying that word because I didn't have priorities. I wasn't prioritizing anything. And that's when I would start to sulk and, sit in my room or in my office wondering like, what am I doing with my life? Where am I going? What do I want to do? And I wasn't pausing or giving myself an hour each night to really sit with my thoughts and sit with my feelings and sit with my dreams. Small, big, audacious, right? So I wish that for all of you listening is to take some time right now and sit with yourself. Ask yourself the questions you've been avoiding, or plan out the dreams and the goals that you've been putting on a shelf or avoiding. Or maybe it's reaching out to someone to say hi, or, hey, can I offer you my services? So again, I've been documenting this whole process on my YouTube channel. Please go subscribe. We hit the 1,000 subscriber mark, which is so awesome. And I think we're actually over 1,100 at this point, which is wild to me, because I remember trying to get my first 100 subscribers. It took a long time. And then the moment I hit 1,000, it just was like overnight when I got 100 more subscribers. So I absolutely love doing YouTube. And I think a big part of me was not enjoying aspects of my business or even life because I wasn't incorporating YouTube into my schedule. I really wasn't. And I also have a personal channel, and I was just kind of letting it exist in the background. And I realized, you know what? I love YouTube. Like when it came down to, again, auditing my life, I was like, yeah, I'm going to keep doing this YouTube thing and see what happens. You know, there's 5 months left in 2024, which is a lot of time to get a lot done. And if I just commit the next 5 months to growing my channel, growing my community, which put a pin in that community, growing this podcast, growing my business, and, you know, redefining what business means to me, and also financially getting to know my numbers. Like when I'm coaching people one-on-one or going live in my live streams, which I've been doing consistently as well, it always comes down to knowing yourself, knowing your numbers, knowing your target audience. Really, the same way you would audit your life is the same way you would audit your business, and sit and list who are these people that I need to reach, and what am I serving them, and how am I providing value, and how much do I need to make along the way. Because one thing I did learn, and I'm actively learning right now, is how to be confident in my financial decisions and how I can balance or have a sense of harmony between, yeah, I can help you, no problem, you know, for free or in the DMs or in my live stream, versus let's get on a one-on-one. You pay me for my time and we make things happen and get you on the right track. And it's funny because being self-employed, you would think that would come naturally, right? Just asking people to pay for your services, but it doesn't. And I think that's a part of this whole auditing of my life I'm uncovering still, is that I'm just not that comfortable asking people to pay me for something that maybe I think is not ready or underdeveloped or is not enough. So that's a big part of the work I've been doing too, mentally and emotionally, internally, is identifying, you know, why do I think that? Why do I feel like that? And it's been interesting. So if you're someone out there doubting yourself or your services, or lowballing yourself even, you know, if you're a brand new transaction coordinator, I've spoken to many of you and you're saying, well, maybe if I offer my services for $200 since I'm brand new. It's like, no, the same way I uplift and encourage you all is the same way I need to be uplifting and encouraging myself. So I've been really just with myself lately. I went MIA-ish on purpose, but moving forward, I'm committing to the next 5 months of this year of 2024 to showing up for my community, which is you all that are listening. And I thank you so much for tuning in and still being here with me through this journey. We're almost at the 2-year mark of having a podcast, which is amazing. If you're someone that is considering starting their own podcast and needs coaching or tips, please reach out to me. My DMs are open. You can also email me, tc@transactioncare.com. But with all of that said, community. When it came down to it, I just got tired of working alone, which is, I think, a main reason why I was on LinkedIn or Indeed searching for work. I was searching for something deeper to make all of this make sense. And when it came down to it, I realized, you know what? I need to bring back my TC community. But this time, I'm going to approach it differently. I'm going to keep it simple. I'm going to keep it as affordable as I possibly can. I know I talked about it in my previous episode, but by the time you're listening to this, doors are officially open. I thought about the different ways to bring the people together that want to work with me, either one-on-one or in a group setting, or really get how I do this on a day-to-day basis and relay that information to them in a private community where it's not just people that are like-minded individuals, but also those that are on this journey and want community or need accountability. And I remember last year when I launched my TC community, I launched it before even telling people what I was doing or who I am. I was like, you know what? This isn't working out. Let me spend the next year building my community and finding my tribe, my village, right? And I'm so glad I took the time, which is the same reason I took time for this podcast, because I was like, I cannot move forward by just, being in motion and following the steps. I needed to take a break and see the bigger vision, or at least imagine the bigger vision of what this could be, because I started to lose sight of that. So when it came to relaunching my TC community and how I wanted to go about it, I think last year I was like, I'm going to do a course, I'm going to do workshops, going to do live streams. And then it flopped. I needed to build myself up as well as my community. And ever since then, I've met so many of you, and going live every week has made a world of a difference. And shout out to TikTok. So for those that are like, I'm too old for TikTok, I don't know how to use TikTok, I don't want a TikTok. If you don't want a TikTok, that's fine. But if you're someone curious about using TikTok, start it right now, and just draft up 10 posts talking about real estate, business, or your experience and your journey where you are today. Think of like 3 different pillars under your main umbrella of a topic, and just talk about those 3-4 things consistently. But I'm telling you, the growth and the reach is still pretty organic, and the pace in which people find you and reach out to you and comment is way better than any platform I've used to date. So shout out to my TikTok fam. You guys are awesome. I go live every Tuesday. And as a result of that, I decided, all right, it's time to bring my TC community back. And it's back. We're live. Doors are open. We now live on Patreon. So I'm giving you the keys. That's what I say, right? So I'm giving you the keys. Come on inside, join the party. It's cozy, it's fun, it's productive. And I've been soft launching it for the last couple of weeks. And shout out to the 4 members that have already joined. So the first 10 people that join get to have a membership for $7 a month, lifetime. No questions asked, no ifs, ands, or buts, no changes, no catches. $7 a month for the first 10 people that sign up. Like I said, I think we're at about 4, and that's without me promoting it. That's without me really announcing it like I am today. That's without marketing, advertising, all of that. So the first 10 people, if you're listening to this right now, there's about 6 more slots, maybe less, but act now at the $7 price. And then after I hit the first 10 members, it goes up to $10 a month. So you're probably like, well, $7, $10, what's the difference? It's up to you. It's up to you and which tier you want, but you're going to get the same access to the information and the content at either tier. So why not save yourself $3 a month? But I am excited because this is my opportunity to really have a more direct interaction with each of you that join, and we can talk about topics that are necessary for you right now, for clarity, for inspiration, motivation. And I feel more energized this go around than I did last year because I know you guys. I've been meeting you all. I've been talking to you. We've been messaging. You have all been supporting me. Going back to TikTok, people are buying me gifts and roses and hats and things of that nature, and that equals money. People are spending their hard-earned money on me, and I'm just so grateful. And if I can give back in any way to where we all benefit, I'm with it. So if you're interested in that and you're looking for like-minded individuals or just a community of people eager and energized to better themselves, to work on their personal development and career goals and growth, then join my Transaction Care Patreon. It's my community platform exclusive. You do have to pay to join, but it's as affordable as I could possibly make it. So if that intrigues you, I will put the link in the description. But basically go to patreon.com/transactioncare or visit my website, transactioncare.com/coaching. So it's going to be a mix of coaching and training, as well as live Q&As, workshops, trainings, all of that in one. And we will develop this platform together, meaning I will post polls on there of what you guys want me to talk about first versus me assuming what I want you guys to hear or what I think you guys need to hear. You guys get to vote. You guys will get to tell me, hey, I have a question about this. Do you mind answering it? Yes. We have a group chat that's going on there. You can chat with me individually. And there's also an app. So again, if that interests you, join today. Otherwise, thank you so much for listening. I know I kind of was all over the place with this episode, but it was just a check-in episode. More consistency with the podcast to come. Let me know if there are people you want me to interview, because I will bring interviews back. I have some ideas floating around in my head, but right now I'm just getting back into the groove of things, gaining a more consistent flow and schedule, knowing what my priorities are, knowing what I have to focus on in order to get from A to B is where I'm at today. So before I reintroduce guests and interviews onto the show, I want to make sure I am still in tune and having fun doing this. And I hope you all are having fun and enjoying the show as well. If you are, please add me on TikTok or subscribe to my YouTube channel. Going back to the words priorities, TikTok and YouTube and this podcast are my 3 priorities underneath, God, me, family, friends, transaction coordination. It's TikTok, YouTube, and this podcast. So please, if you're not following me on either platform, please do so. Stay connected. DMs are open. And I know I have so many favors and requests and calls to action, but lastly, if you can, please leave a 5-star rating. Even a 1-star rating is fine, because it triggers the algorithm or whatever it is, the podcast universe, it recommends, when there's more engagement, it recommends my show to a bigger audience, to more people. And I would truly, truly appreciate that, because it goes a long way. And also tell a friend, tell a friend, tell a friend. Save a life by sharing this podcast. Save a business, actually. How about that? Save a business by sharing this podcast with someone you know that could use the extra encouragement, or maybe a laugh, or a friend in the industry. I'm here to help. I'm here to support. I'm here to guide, uplift, and encourage you all. And I'm so grateful to have gotten this episode recorded, because it was a long time coming. This month went by super fast, but it also felt like I was in turtle mode. But thank you again for listening. I appreciate each and every one of you. Again, there's still a lot more year to go. Set your goals, set your intentions, be mindful, be kind, be generous, and have fun. So with all that said, thank you for listening to another episode of the Transaction Care Podcast. I'm your host, Lillian Hernandez, but you can call me Lily like the flower because we're learning and growing together. I'm giving you the keys. There are no gatekeepers here. Care for yourself, care for your wealth. Your time is worth it. Let's coordinate. Talk soon. One last thing, if you're still here listening, thank you. I don't ever do this after I've said talk soon, but I realized I didn't even give you all a breakdown of what my schedule is. So here we go. Mondays, you're getting a brand new podcast episode. Yes. Also, newsletter number 1 of the week is my TC Wisdom newsletter. Tuesdays at 2 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, I live stream my workday. Yes, the longest live I've done so far is about 3 hours, and that was so much fun. I go live on TikTok and YouTube at 2 p.m. Pacific Standard Time every Tuesday, unless it's a holiday or I have an event that I can't cancel, and I'll just move the live. But please mark that down. Every Tuesday, 2 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, live streaming, TC Live. And then Wednesdays, we have my TC vlog, which I talked about earlier in this episode, where I'm documenting my journey. And you could see visually what I look like, as well as different topics that are more specific to what I'm going through that I hope brings value to your life as well. And throughout the week, you're getting clips and shorts and reels. And I also am doing a shorts series on my YouTube every Sunday. 20 tips, 20 years for the next 20 weeks. I think we're at about tip 5. So either way, that's what's going on. And also Wednesdays is the TC Weekly Recap email. I forgot to mention that. So you're getting 2 newsletter emails throughout the week. You're hearing from me on Monday. We are streaming together on Tuesdays. And you're watching me on Wednesdays. So thank you again. And I appreciate anyone that has made it this far. I was only supposed to come on here for a few minutes, and we are almost approaching the 30-minute mark. So I'm going to get out of here. Thank you again. Talk soon.